Hey, Algebra 1, we're going to do notes a little differently like this, where I'm not using the smartboard because a lot of today's lesson is on the calculator. So I want you to be able to see how I type something into the calculator, okay? So the name of the game today is radicals and rational exponents. So we're kind of taking what we've been working on and mashing it up with a new idea. So a radical, you guys, is just the square root symbol. Okay, that's called a radical. Okay. Now, a rational exponent, think of a rational number. And if you don't know what a rational number off the top of your head is, it's just a fraction like 2/3. So any number that can be written as a fraction is considered rational. So our goal today is to take a number like 4 to the power of 2/3. Okay, so we're going to take a number, instead of having like a whole number as our power or our exponent, it's going to be a fraction. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. And like I said, a lot of it is just in the calculator and kind of understanding what's happening. Okay, so let's just get started with this first exploration and see if we can come up with any observations. All right, so it says use your calculator to evaluate the following expressions. So I'm gonna have to probably zoom out a little bit so you guys can see my whole calculator. All right, so the first one, I think we should know how to do this one. It's a review, I would hope. So we want to figure out what the square root of 81 is. So we should know how to do that. Remember, you hit second, the x squared button, and then 81. And then you hit equals. So really, folks, what that means is what number times itself equals 81. And we know that's 9. But then you also have to think, could it be the negative version as well? And if you don't know, just type in your calculator. -9 times -9 is also 81. So that's also an option. So just kind of always in the back of your brain be thinking, could it be the negative version as well? All right. So, yep, the square root of 81 is 9 or -9. All right. Now let's type in the square root of, 81 to the power of a half. So this is how you would type it into your calculator. You hit 81, and then you're going to hit second. Oh, I lied. Don't do that. JK. 81, just have 81 to the power, the little up arrow, and now parentheses. Now your fraction, 1 divided by 2. So that's what it should look like. Hit equals, and it's also 9. So really what that also means is what number times itself equals 81, and it should be 9, or we just found out -9. So I'm hoping you're thinking that the square root is also the same as taking a number to the half power. They're the same thing. So that's our first observation, okay? All right, let's try another one. The cubed root of 64. That's how you would read that. You guys see how there's a little 3 there? So in your calculator, this is how you would type that in. You're going to hit 3 because that's your little index number. Then you're going to hit second. And then you're going to hit the up arrow right there. So it should look like this in your calculator. And then 64 equals. So what this is really asking you is what number times itself 3 times will give you 64, and it's the number 4. And now let's just try to see if we get the same thing. If we took -4 times -4 times -4, let's see if we get positive 64. Ooh, we don't. It's negative. So my only option here is 4. All right. Now let's take 64 to the third power. 1/3 power. So you're going to hit 64 to the power, that little up arrow, parentheses, 1 divided by 3. End your parentheses and hit equals. And we get 4 again. So these two things mean the same thing, even though they're written differently. So the cubed root of something is also the same as taking it to the 1/3 power. Okay. All right, let's try another one here. 64 to the 2/3 power. 64. So can you guys still see my calculator a little bit here? I guess I could move it here. All right. So 64 to the power, parentheses, 2 divided by 3. That's what it should look like in your calculator. Hit equals, and you should be getting 16. I wonder what that means. Well, let's break this one down a little bit, folks. I'm going to kind of write it right here. So what this would look like if we were to break it down into radical form is that little 3 comes out in front. So it's going to be the cubed root of 64. And then don't forget about that 2. And then whatever you get, you square it because of that 2. Well, we already found that the cubed root of 64 was 4. And now we have to square it. And 4 times 4 is 16, which we got. So really, you guys, this right there, taking something to the 2/3 power is like writing it like this. This is kind of advanced, and I know it's kind of confusing, but like I said, this is what your calculator is doing. So I just wanted to explain it to you that this is what was happening in your calculator. All right, and then our last one here, folks, 81 to the 4th power. So in your calculator, you're going to hit 81 to the power of 1 divided by 4. So this is what it should look like. Hit equals, and it should be 3. So this is saying what number times itself 4 times is equal to 81. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 gives me 81. Let's just try the -3 just to make sure. So -3 times -3 times -3 times -3 also equals 81. So 3 and -3 are your answers there. And I suppose we could write that right here. Something to the 4th root is really like taking it to the 4th power. 1/4 power. All right. So now let's try evaluate these next few without the help of our calculator till the end, okay? So I can zoom in now a little bit so we can see a little better. All right. So we know that anything to the 1/2 power is really like the square root. So what's the square root of 100? What number times itself gives you 100? I hope you're thinking 10 or -10. And again, you could easily check that in your calculator, but I think that one's a pretty obvious one. Okay, 27 to the 3rd power, 1/3 power. So this is what it really looks like if you wrote it with a radical. So in our brain, we're thinking what number times itself 3 times gives us 27? 3? Yep, it is 3. Again, check yourself by typing it in the calculator. All right. This one's asking what number times itself 3 times equals -64. So if I look up here just for kind of clues, I know 4 times itself 3 times is +64. So I'm thinking maybe it's -4. And if we check it here, you guys, -4 times -4 times -4 is -64. So that does work. Yep. So we're good there. Okay, this one, -8 to the power of 1/3. So this is really like this, you guys. That's what that looks like as a radical. So what number times itself 3 times is -8? Are you thinking -2? Because it sure is -2. All right, -81 to the 1/4 power. So this is what this one would look like as a radical. So in our brain, we should be thinking what number times itself 4 times equals -81. And this one's kind of tricky. And it's tricky because it's the negative right now. And I hope you're thinking a number times itself 4 times would be an even amount. And you can't take an even amount to get a negative number, right? Because if I took -4 times -4 times -4 times -4, I get a positive number, right? Or if I did -3 times -3 times -3 times -3, I get positive 81. So this one has no solution. So if you were to type in -81 to the power, I had to do it in parentheses. Sorry, you guys. -81. Make sure it's in parentheses because that's how it looks like on here. To the power of 1 divided by 4. Domain error. Because it's not possible, because there's not any number that you can multiply by itself 4 times that would give you a negative outcome. Okay? All right, and then our last one here, folks. So if I rewrote it, it'd look like this. 4th root of 81. Figure out what that is, and then we're going to cube it. Well, we already know that 3 times itself 4 times is 81. So my number inside is 3. 3 cubed is 27. So your final answer is 27. And again, let's check it real quick, just for good practice. 81 to the power of 3 divided by 4 is 27. Guys, I know this is kind of confusing, and it's kind of like you're jumping back and forth with your calculator and your brain, and I know it's kind of a lot, but I'm just kind of trying to introduce you to something that you probably won't see again until Algebra 2. So just think of this more as an introduction. Some observations we noticed here. Well, let's write this one down. The 3/4 power is really like thinking the 4th root cubed of that number. And then we also discovered even powers can't produce a negative outcome. Even powers can't have negative numbers. Okay? All right. Now let's see if we can just try to use these new ideas in these next few examples, all right? So it says examples 1 and 2, find the nth root of a number a. So what's happening here? I want to find the nth root of my third power of 27. So this one, I hope you're kind of getting the hang of it. What number times itself 3 times is 27? Hoping you're thinking 3. And if you don't know, you guys, it's calculator work. One more time just for practice. You're going to hit 3, second, the up arrow, 27 equals 3. All right. Okay, you guys try this one. The 4th root of 81. You guys type that in your calculator and tell me what you get. The 4th root of 81. So you're thinking, what number times itself 4 times is 81? I'm hoping you're thinking 3 or -3, right? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 81, or the negative version, -3 times -3, 81. Perfect. Okay, you guys try to write these ones. So pause the video, write your 2 answers, and check with me, all right? Because right now I'm going to go ahead and work them out. So this one, the 3rd root of -125. So I'm thinking, what number times itself 3 times is -125? I'm kind of thinking 5. Let's check it out. So I'm going to have -125. Put it in parentheses, folks. -125 to the power of 1/3. Should be -5. Yep. Because -5 times -5 times -5 equals -125. All right, this next one, the 4th root of 16. So what number times itself 4 times is 16? Again, if you don't know, use your calculator, but it should be 2, right? So you could hit 4, second, up arrow, 16. Should be 2. Or think about it, you guys, -2 times -2 times -2 times -2 also results in a positive 16. So it's both, okay? All right, flip it over, folks. Move into the back. So we've already kind of talked about this, but they're just breaking it down for us one more time. So if we have a rational exponent like this, it's really like taking the small number or the denominator, throwing it in front of our radical and taking that whole expression to the power of your numerator, right? So if we look here, 27 to the 2/3 power is really taking 27 to the 1/3 power and then squaring it. So if we were to break this down, what is the third cubed root of 27? So what number times itself 3 times is 27? Should be 3. And now we have to square that. So your final answer should be 9. So this whole thing just equals 9. Okay, so now let's practice writing these as radicals. So remember the denominator goes out in front, so it's going to be the 4th root of 16 cubed. Now from here, what is the 4th root of 16? So in your calculator, you're going to hit 4, second, up arrow, 16, hit equals, and it's 2. And now we have to cube that, folks. So 2 to the power of 3 is 8. Done. Check. Okay, let's try another one. So again, the denominator goes out in front, so 3, the 3rd root of 27 to the 4th power. So we got to figure out what number times itself 3 times is 27. So in your calculator, hit 3, up arrow, 27. So the cubed root of 27 we know is 3 to the power of 4. 3 to the power of 4 equals 81. Okay, I think this would be a great time for you to pause the video and try these ones on your own, using your calculator or just using your own thoughts. Try it out. See how these go. Okay, because now I'm going to do them, so I hope you tried them. So this time you're thinking, what number times itself 3 times is -125? So just to practice, I'll type these all in my calculator just so you guys can see how I did them. You're going to hit 3, because that's the little number, your index, second, up arrow, and then put parentheses -125, because that's exactly how it looks. -5, yep, because -5 times -5 times -5 equals 125, -125. All right, this next one, the cubed root of -64 squared. Well, we know that 4 times itself 3 times is 64, so -4 times itself 3 times is -64. Then if we square it, we get 16. So again, if you want to check in your calculator, if you type it in exactly how you see it, parentheses, -64, and parentheses, to the power 2 divided by 3 equals. Uh-oh, what did I do? Domain error. Okay, backtrack. Let's break it down. I don't know what I hit in the calculator, folks. I don't want to waste your time anymore. Okay, let's find the cubed root of negative 64. So hit 3, second up arrow, negative 64. There's our negative 4. And now I'm squaring it. So negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. All right. All right, 2 left, folks. So if you wrote this one out, it should be the second root of 9 to the power of 5. Well, what's the square root of 9? We know that's 3. 3 to the power of 5 in our calculator. 3 to the power of 5. It's a big one. 243. Now our last one here. Fourth root of 256. And then we're going to cube it. So in our calculator, hit 4, second, up arrow, and then 256 is just 4. And now we're cubing it. 4 to the power of 3 equals 64. Okay, you guys can cross off this bottom. I hope I didn't completely confuse you. I know this stuff's kind of tricky. Please raise your hand if you're stuck and let me know what I can do for you.